programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the Lean Startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, all the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Hello, how's everybody? Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. I'm down in Miami at the BIA Summit, the Sustainability Summit, and we've had a couple of days of excellent workshops. Out down here networking with the 125 other organizations that are supporting Black founders all over. And so it's kind of neat to be down here among so many organizations and people that are trying to help founders out there, and that's what we're all about, is trying to support founders. And specifically with the Gakui Institute, we always say we want startup founders to learn the best practices for building a startup. And the reason why we say that, because there's a whole ecosystem out there of resources that are available to founders. And so you can't get those resources if you don't know the best practices for building a startup. So that's kind of the gist. So over the years, in interviewing founders, you hear the term business model, and so you try to figure out what their business model is. And so over the last couple of days, I've heard the term business model, probably 50 or 60 times, maybe even more, because it is all about the business model. It's not about the solution. It's about a business model to actually solve a big problem that we have in our society. And so that's kind of what it's all about. And so on my journey down here, I had a chance to spend a little time with my brother-in-law, and he's an architect. And so, I was, he was inquiring about the startup ecosystem and how you do a startup. So he's been, his main thing is remodeling homes. And so he knows how to design stuff, and he knows how to manage the product, and he's got all these years of expertise. And so so I was telling them, so how do you figure out, how to create what are the problems that homeowners have hiring, remodelers or contractors to remodel a house? And so then I said, well, what are the problems you as a contractor have with dealing with homeowners? Also, what are the problems that you have dealing with suppliers like Lowe's, Home Depot, and supplying you the product? And so I say, well, from that kind of things, you can actually prompt ChatGPT and it'll list all the problems. And then now the problems from, the customer perspective, your perspective, and the supplier perspective. So if you wanted to create a startup to kind of solve those problems, you would take all those things in consideration and build a platform that, try to help solve those problems. But in doing that, you would have to come up with a business model for that. And then so I would say, well, what you should do is ask, something like ChatGPT, a large language model, what are some potential business models for solving these problems? And so ChatGPT will spit out eight or nine, 10 business models, and I'd say, well, ask it to spit out some more. And then I would say take those some combination of those business models that it suggests close to what your interests are, and have it create a lean canvas based on that combination of business models. And so one of the things you'll get from that is how to correctly, when you're doing a pitch, how to correctly say what the problem you're solving. And to me, that's kind of the significance of that. But you can go on and on. You can have it generate a why now elevator pitch based on that, or you can have it generate a business model story pitch based on that. And this is based on templates that we use in the Lean Stack platform and for business model design. So that was one example of, but the purpose of all that, saying all that, you learn how to communicate what the problem you're solving, and you know how to say it so other people can understand it. And then, like when you're filling out an application for a pitch competition, you know how to answer the question based on what your business model is. And so that's kind of a start. And I'll tell one more example before I get into all this. So one of our folks participated in our program. She's off somewhere, New York or somewhere, got to audition for Shark Tank. And so same thing, she has a patent pending product, and and so she only has 1 minute to pitch. And so first we had worked with her to generate a 3-minute pitch, and then she said, oh no, I only have 1 minute. So we just had ChatGPT rewrite the pitch, and based on that, but she still has to, she'll hit it on all the things that the people who are grading the 1 minute pitch will understand. So they're looking for certain things, and if you don't say them, you won't make it in the competition. So she's got a personality. She's most likely she will get in. She has some traction with her product. So that's kind of a key thing. And I'll tell one more story before we get going here too. So I'm sitting beside the gentleman at the summit today, and BIA is talking about how they use Coda to kind of pull all their records together, all their data together. So, and they said something that sort of caught my attention, because the biggest problem a nonprofit has or a startup has is data and analyzing the data, or to do reports, or to keep their customers satisfied. So if you got all the data, you can make the right decision to retain your customers, or if you're a nonprofit, you can report on your activities to show, but you have to collect the data, and Coda allows you to collect the data. So after we he sees here's people talking about this, and so I say, well, the Coda Institute is a partner for Coda, and you can get 6 months free of Coda, and you can and it allows you to get unlimited AI. So when you in your Coda documents, when you're pulling the data from this whatever HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever, but you can literally manage your own data. So, like for example, like we did the Black Founders Innovation Summit and the Innovation Tour last month, and so I'm a member of the Florida Black Innovation Leaders of Florida. So we did a Eventbrite form and just collected the email address and the person's name. So, but on my part, the summit, I actually created a Coda document CODA form that collected a bunch of information, a bunch of data, and now all that data goes in to my CODA document. So I have it collected. I don't have to download it from Eventbrite. It comes right into my document. So getting back to the story with the guy I'm sitting next to, so he says, I like this. I built a lot of WordPress sites and I got all this data. I want to, kind of pull it in and be able to see it in one place. And so, and the reason why I'm telling you all this is a reason. So the deal is, so he goes to fill out, he selects Kakua Institute as a partner on the startup, CODA startup page. And then he goes to answering the questions, and CODA wants to show some evidence that you're actually a startup. And so he said, well, what are they talking about? What evidence do I need to show that I'm participating in the startup ecosystem? I say, so have you been in any startup program before? He said, no. And he said, and then I said, you don't have anything to show that what your company does and or whatever. So I signed him up in our Black Founder program so he could at least say he was a member of the Kakua Institute Black Founder program. But that's the challenge. People with ideas, you have to start participating in the ecosystem, because if you don't participate in the ecosystem, there's not going to be any evidence that you're working on something or trying to build something. And if there's no evidence, it's going to be harder for you to get in the program. Now there are programs for the idea stage, so that's kind of what the key thing is. But those are just stories that, and so I got a text from one of our mentors, coaches, earlier this week, and so he uses Salesforce, and he said, well, he asked me, does Salesforce have a startup program? And so I wasn't familiar with the Salesforce startup program, but what I did was I just Googled Salesforce for startups, and the page comes up. We give 3 months free to startups. So any major corporation is going to give you something in kind, for being a startup founder. And so all of these things save you money, and that's what Curry said, that was him. But it's just an example. So you have to get in the mindset, that so like even when so I understand that. So always, in my startup journey, I understood that Microsoft had a startup program. I understood that SolidWorks, or all these corporations had startup programs. And so when we formed a nonprofit back in 2016, guess what the first thing I did? I said, Google for nonprofits. I said Microsoft for nonprofits, Salesforce for nonprofits, and up comes all these programs that you get to support nonprofits. And it works the exact same way, and even bigger in the startup world. But you have to be a founder working on a scalable business idea. And I joke a lot of times, so how do you become a founder? I said, if you based on your experience, based on some job you had, based on something you've seen out in, in your daily, or you bought a product and you had a bad experience with, and you get an idea of how to do it better, the minute you start working on that idea in a scalable business model, of something that you can have customer growth, like 5x, 10x, and so the minute you start working on it, you become a founder. And the minute you become a founder, you have access to all the startup ecosystems and the resources therein. But the catch is you have to learn the language of the ecosystem. So in the networking, Tony and I were talking about Black Ambition, and so they have a startup program, and I think last year they probably gave away close to $3 million or more to startups. And I think a lot of it was investments. And there are programs out there that don't take any equity. And so you have to see what best fits your strategy for doing that. But I thought, it would be good to the reason why I decided to do this topic today was, I sit in on a session yesterday with some venture capitalists and some foundation folks, and man, they had some great ideas on how to fund a startup. But they only talked about stuff that after you had launched your product or service. So what happens, when you're at the idea stage? How do you fund that journey to launching your product? And so that's what I like to help people through, because that's when you're spending time and you're not generating any revenue. So how do you cover the cost of a software subscription? These tools that you need to help grow and build your startup, your hub for your team that you pull together. And so I always talk about how do you fund the development of your product or service. And so, and the way you do that is you have to come up with a scalable business model, and you have to learn how to pitch it clearly and concisely. And that's what the Lean Stack program does. It teaches you how to design a scalable business model. So you can pitch it to get co-founders. You can pitch it and you can pitch it verbally or in writing. And so when I say pitch, that's what I mean. So like when Tony was filling out the Black Ambition application, he's literally pitching his business model. And so when he fills out that application, and if he doesn't say something correctly, they're going to say he's not a good candidate. And so that's what I'm talking about. These opportunities are there to get you through all these phases, but you have to learn how to communicate in the language that they want to hear. And the first part of it is the Lean Canvas business model. And almost everything you do from that point on, it's going to be related to those 9 things in that business model. So that's what you understand to kind of move forward. And so the other problem I saw here at the conference, you got they call them ISOs or innovation support organizations or entrepreneur support organization. And so like when you think of a traditional small business, you can do innovation in there. But if you want to scale something that scales 10x, that's going to require you to do some serious innovation. You're not going to scale 10x without any serious innovation there. So the startup world is all about innovation, whereas you may be in the traditional business, you may be selling an innovative product or whatever, but typically a lot of those businesses, they don't have scalable business models. And so that's where the opportunity is in the startup ecosystem. It's looking for organizations with scalable business models. So you have to make a choice. Are you going to do a traditional business that requires you to use a traditional business funding, or are you going to use the startup ecosystem that you start with an idea, no product, service, just an idea, and then you create your business model, and that's your product, and you're pitching what you're going to build, not what you have, and you get funding to build it. And that's the difference in the ecosystem. and it's hard to kind of go between if you're hearing it for the first time, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but to me, it's a tremendous opportunity to think that you as an individual can have an idea and somebody's going to help you turn that into a concept. Somebody's going to help you turn that into a prototype or a minimal viable product. Somebody's going to help you do it. And I was sitting at a table with an organization out of Atlanta, and they have a pretty big, I guess, customer base or member base, and so most of their member base is doing millions of dollars, and so the deal is they're trying to help these businesses grow their revenue, and so that's how the startup ecosystem works. And that's been my experience too. I started off with an idea, and Microsoft gave me initially $60,000 worth of cloud credits, and then expand that to another $120,000 worth of cloud credits. And so it's just, you have to start, this ecosystem exists. So what we want is to help people understand that it exists, but you have to, do the right stuff. And I hope that makes sense. So if any of you all out there, if you have any questions or you have any comments related to that, it definitely would be appreciated. And the innovation, I would say it requires data, so you always have to figure out how to collect some data so you can innovate around that data, because you can learn from that data. And so that's kind of what the deal is there. So let's go to, I'll pull up, so this year, we're focusing on Black founders. Our resources, we allow, our training resources, we allow anybody to have access to those. But our coaching and mentoring, we mainly support Black founders with that. And we're literally partnering with funders to fund these things for the founders. So and so we work with founders. We don't care which stage you're at. So if you're at the idea stage, fine. Or if you're making money or trying to raise money, fine. We just help you refine what you're doing to kind of move forward. But that's only because these funders support what we're doing. So an example I give people, like we had the Black Founders Innovation Summit last month, and I didn't tell the Black founders, but the registration fee was $100 per person. So we literally got the sponsors to actually pay that registration fee for the funders, and we had 92 people in attendance, just to kind of give you an idea of what that, and that's because these sponsors, and partners, they want to support you as a founder going from an idea stage to making money. And so when you see this this light bulb looking thing here, this green thing, that's Startup Science. And so what's so interesting about that, we offer that to founders for free. And now large corporations have come in and sponsoring that platform. So you as a founder can have access to all the information, how to communicate with investors, how to all the marketing terms, anything you want to know about being a startup. So when you're starting to fill out the Black Ambition application, the Microsoft for Startup application or the Google for Black Founders thing where they give you $150,000, you know how to answer all the questions, and you know what all the terms mean. So when you fill out an application, you're literally pitching your business model, to support you getting the funding you need to build whatever product or service that you have out there. It doesn't matter if it's a hardware product, software product, or a service product. It's just that's the significance of, and we've gained a lot more founders, a lot more supporters, than on this slide, but it just kind of gives you a sampling of the kind of corporations that are interested in helping you move forward. So let's see here. Okay. So yeah, today we're talking about this funding your startup, and so that's kind of the nature of the conversation today. And so going back to the idea of as a founder, you need to know which phase you're in for your startup. And so are you down here idea stage, or the concepting stage, or the kind of committing phase, and where you launching a product? So you need to know where you are so you can understand how you can make it to the next phase. So the slide before was from the Startup Commons, and so, for example, they open source their curriculum, so anybody can go download the curriculum and look at all the videos and learn how to be a startup and how to get through all the phases. And so that's the neat thing about that. And so we love this milestone chart, or we call it a traction roadmap chart, but it actually has all the milestones that a founder needs to reach in order to kind of go out through this journey. So Corey and Vince and I, we were in this training from the level 3 training, which covers this blue phase here. And so we have several coaches that are level 1, which is the green. We have several coaches that are in the orange, which is our 90-day program. And now we have 3 coaches, and yeah. So let's see, looks like Mikhail. So he has a question. So he said, how do we get the link to apply for these funds? So that's a good question. So if you go to our Kakura Institute website, there's a Get Started page. And then if you look down on that page, there's a thing called founder opportunities. So founder opportunities, and so I would define an opportunity for a founder like this. So to get somebody to coach you or mentor you, that's an opportunity. To get free legal services, that's an opportunity. To get free marketing service, that's an opportunity. To get in-kind services from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, HubSpot, in-kind service. Like HubSpot, as a startup, you get like up to 90% off HubSpot. All of these are in-kind services. Also, like a pitch competition is a founder opportunity. The Black Founder Program that we do is a founder opportunity. A corporate innovation program is a founder opportunity. Like some companies like Dell, they offer a lot of companies. They offer consulting services, for free, for startup founders. Uh, uh, like for me, the Kukui Institute, or even if Kukui Institute was a for-profit, being a part of BIA is an opportunity, because we get this, this conference. They pay for our travel, and they pay for our hotel stay. So that's an opportunity. Let me see if I got the link to this Get Started page here. I look, so I don't see it. Okay, so if you go to the kukuiinstitute.org, let me see, and then click the Get Started page. I'll put our website in there, kukuiinstitute.org. And let's see. So if you go to the website and then click the Get Started page, you'll see something called Founder Opportunity. And I can share my screen later if you have trouble finding it, but just let me know if you have trouble finding it. But there's a database, that Founder Opportunity database. It has over somewhere close to 1,400 opportunities, and that's a drop in the bucket of the type of opportunities that are out there. So I'm trying to think of some other things that the ecosystem has that we kind of take for granted. So my suggestion is these ecosystem. That's how you get the money to build your product. That's how you get all these in-kind services. And so no matter what you do in life, you always look for the resources to help you with that. And so and that should be your mindset. So I'll tell you another thing. So like if you want to find these opportunities, like on LinkedIn, so I follow Black Ambition, I follow Goody Nation, I follow all these entrepreneur support organizations, and literally every day in my feed, I see 10, 20, 30 founder opportunities. And guess what comes in my email? All these organizations have email lists. There's not a day go by I don't get at least 20 emails of opportunities for founders. And so the ecosystem is there, but you have to participate in it. So the other thing, so that question is really fires me up because it's just so interesting. So I have a profile on f6s.com, which is a founder website. So f6s.com. And so that has millions of dollars of founder opportunities listed on that page. Our partner, PitchBob, they have a link on their website for in-kind opportunities for, I think it's probably about 400 in-kind opportunities listed on there. Even our Startup Science platform, they have a list of in-kind services on there. So there's no shortage of in-kind services and stuff you don't have to pay for. And so like I was working with a founder out of South Carolina, and so he joined the Microsoft program and got $5,000 worth of Azure credits. Now he's porting his application from AWS over to Microsoft. Yeah, and so that's so this is another founder opportunity. So like when you get in these programs, like these cloud programs, they also help you with designing your solution. So that's why I always ask myself, if you want to start a business, would you start a traditional business, or will you start a startup business where you get all this free help and these free in-kind in-kind resources? That's to me the big question you have. And that's why this chart I'm showing you here is so critical, because you have to get the foundations part of this thing, and it all starts with the business model. That's what's important. And I'll show some other slides later, but the business model is the product. And yeah, and so so just think of all the people you see out there or hear out there that have business ideas. And so the startup ecosystem will help them with these ideas, but if they don't know the startup ecosystem exists, they can't get access to these founder opportunities. That's about as plain as I could put it. So that F success thing, I'm showing you here, that I've been on that site for over 10 years, and I get a stream of opportunities all the time. So, when you need help, so there's Crunchbase, there's LinkedIn. So everything you do as a startup founder, and as you make progress, like I was telling Tony on the networking tonight, I said, well, once you finish the business model design training, just create a LinkedIn post. I just completed the business model design training, and by Ash Maurer, the guy who invented the Lean Canvas. Now, folks, in our 90-day program now, you can post that up. This is what I learned today, and in that cohort, and that's evidence to show that you're making progress with what you're doing. So thanks for that question, Mikhail. Yeah. But the hard part about getting the funding, I actually had one of the founders. She had won a $250,000 pitch competition, and they asked her to submit a rollout plan before they would give her the money. And so if you don't know what a rollout plan is, you're in trouble. I'm going to give you $250,000 and you can't even explain to me what you're going to do with it. Am I going to hesitate on giving you the money or not? And so that's what the startup ecosystem does. And that's what we're trying to train founders is all this knowledge is available to you for free. So why not learn it? So the business model design training, it teaches you how to design a scalable business model. And the startup science, it teaches you how to communicate, all the marketing term, all the business terms, the customer acquisition cost stuff, everything, and it calculates your marketing stuff for you. Why wouldn't you use a tool like this? So when somebody asks you a question, you have a better understanding on how to answer it. Yeah. And everything about the startup ecosystem has been open source. Everything from cap tables to all the documents you have to use, it's all there, for you to use. Okay, let's see. Go to the next slide here. Okay, that's my ecosystem slide, but let me go back one here. Okay, so I love this slide from Startup Science, and good news, we're going to have Greg Shepard on, I think a week after next, and he's going to explain all of this. How do you get through all these phases? And you're definitely in for a treat, on that. And so this particular view of kind of this is just a life cycle of a startup. So it's kind of like a phase thing, but literally it's just saying this is your idea thing. You develop a product, you go to market, you standardize all your how you do everything in your startup, and and but one of the points he made in a talk a few weeks ago, he said most people will try to hire a bunch of folks when they go to market before they standardize all their business processes or write down how do you do this in this business, how do you do this, how do you do that, and so you end up hiring people that when there's no standardization, so they don't know what to do. So you're literally paying for people that are really you're not getting 100% out. So you standardize your processes before you go out and hire a bunch of people to do. But all three of these phases all three of these slides I just showed you sort of help you understand where you are as a founder in your journey. And so you always have to ask yourself, have I met this, like if you go back so have I met this problem solution fit milestone? Have I met this solution customer fit milestone? Have I met this product market fit milestone? And so this slide has so much in it, it's totally tremendous, because literally this curve is a traction curve. So you're literally, gaining traction as you go through these, as you meet these milestones. Let's see what else I have in there. And so when we first got started with I'll start off on the blocks best practices thing on Thursday night. We didn't have any of these training programs, so we just leveraged what's out there, and we still try to leverage what's out there. And so, like, if you wanted to be a successful founder, what playbook do you follow? And the idea was you had to kind of have developed the right founder's mindset. And if you notice what's in the in our business model design training, let me get back here. So let's talk about the foundation, but one of the things you learn in this 30-day program is that founder's mindset. And that's really important. But you learn the fundamentals and you learn the mindset stuff. And what I've noticed over the few years here is that's really the biggest challenge for founders is that mindset thing. And so here you got Sam Altman, now the CEO of OpenAI. This was back when he was a founder. He did this 25-minute talk on what the journey is like as a founder, and so and that helps you understand what it's like to be a founder. And so learn the lean startup methodology. We didn't have access to the Lean Stack platform back then, but now we can literally let anybody who wants to design a scalable business model, we can actually give them access to the program. And all you have to do is go to our website, CoreInstitute.org, click the Get Started pages, and follow the links for our startup community, Startup on the Block startup community, and we will get you into the Lean Stack program and it also the Startup Science program. So before we had access to those programs, we referred people to the Startup School, and that is fantastic because that's ran by Y Combinator. They have a whole startup community. They have documentation ever since they were founded back in 2006, 2007. All the presentations they did, all the videos, and they got a whole library of stuff that you have access to if you kind of go enroll in their program. And so this F Success and other founder sites, I can't say enough. I got over $100,000 just from offers, money, cash offers, programs through this F Success site. And I didn't have to go apply for them. The opportunities came to me. Most of the opportunities that I got money-wise or program-wise, I got emails. I didn't have to go looking for them. And so that's how the ecosystem works. Once you become visible, in the ecosystem, you let's see, yeah, once you become visible, once you become visible in the ecosystem, these startup ecosystem organizations and these programs, they reach out to you when they see your profile, et cetera, et cetera. But so this playbook, we're going to kind of create more details so you can kind of understand the significance of doing this playbook. Because what you'll notice, like even on Instagram, so if you start following all these startup organizations on Instagram, you're going to start seeing all these opportunities, these founder opportunities come about. And you're going to be shocked at the number of opportunities that founders have to not spend money and also to win money, to pitch competition or to apply for programs. But you literally have to be open in your journey in the ecosystem. There's a lot of stuff in my head, but if you don't ask me, it's not going to come out, because it's just so many things out there. But what my mindset is, if I'm trying to do something, there's somebody out there that's willing to help me, and so I joined this Black Innovation Alliance, and connecting with other organizations. We're partnering and doing things. I applied for Goodie Nation and got a bunch of help there. This is for the nonprofit, but it works even better for a startup founder. So that's the kind of key thing there. So is any of this stuff resonating with anybody? So kind of let me know, or if there's something that's not clear, kind of let me know. One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to make a chart to explain this. And so this is the way I originally explained everything I just told you so far. So like you as a founder, in this case, when COVID came about, we just said, like it doesn't, like before COVID, the ecosystem had a bunch of programs for Black startup founders, and the difference between a startup founder and a traditional business startup founder is that typically the startup founder is working to solve a huge problem that's a pain point for the folks in that industry, and they're also doing something that they can predict their income that's increasing at a 10x or whatever rate. And a lot of the programs, like one of the guys I was sent to, he only works with entrepreneurs and help them write a business plan. So like, but in the startup world, you use a one-page business plan, not a long drawn out business plan. You need that business plan more when you're raising significant capital, but when you're down in those first few phases of your journey, and I want to show this real quick. So in the startup world, when you're at the -2, -1, 0, the people in the startup ecosystem, they don't want to see a business plan. They want to see that one-page lean canvas, which is the business plan. They don't want to know what your credit is. All they want to know is that you're working on a big problem, and you've designed a scalable business model to solve that problem. And at this stage, you're still working for whoever you're working for. You haven't quit your job, but you just left getting resources to mature, how to make, how to whatever you're building, you just want to pitch what you're building in order to get through to help to get through these stages. That's the kind of the key point there. And and most of the challenge that I've seen too is, you got the mindset challenge, but you also have this challenge of communications. Like we're all human. We want to do things the way we want to do them. We want to, help people the way we want to help them, or we want to do this for Black people or whatever. But you have to create a sustainable business model, and that's what the challenge is. And so the big idea is how do you leverage AI to help you with what you're trying to do. So I'm going to pull up ChatGPT here real quick and share that tab. Let me go here. Let's see, present. Give me a second here while I pull up this tab here. Here we go. And so back in February, I think it was one of the events we did. I kind of put some AI tools to help founders with what they were doing. And so you heard me talk about Y Combinator earlier. So they have a chat bot to hit. Oh, and here's one that says chat with Lloyd. I wonder what that one's all about. I'm joking. And here's another one. These are ones this is one I created here or whatever. And so, but these are all different things. And so, when I was exploring the GPTs that people had created back in February 1st timeframe. So, and I just used the terms, let's say startup. And all of a sudden you see all these GPTs coming up for startups. And so you're sitting back, I have a question I don't understand, but here you got all of these GPTs that people have created. You just, in this case, you need so lean startup, somebody, this is by Eric Ries. So he's put a thing out there. He's the one that popularized the lean startup methodology. And so there's a GPT out there for that. And so as you can see here, there's an endless amount of AIs to help you with help you with your startup thing. And so when you so one of the sessions I did today, yesterday, it was a Dr. Goldie's framework for lean thinking, for doing and you could apply it to your startup. I'm not sure I may be able to pull that up here in a second, but to see what so let's see here. So I'm still going on, so I'm going to change. So there's no shortage of stuff out there for startups. Let's put founder. See what we got there. So in just a matter of February, March, April, May, 4 months, this thing has literally exploded. Co-founder AI, co-founder GPT, co-founder, founder, same thing. So you can sit back, say, I don't know what to do, or what questions I got, or how to raise money. There's literally no shortage of language chatbots to help you out. Yeah. And so we like we have some that we use to kind of help founders. One of the ones we use is called Seabiscuit. Let's see if we can get it to pop up here. Come on, where are you? Okay, look at all the GPTs that they have. So one for your business, evaluating your business model. We love to use that one because you can just do a couple of sentences to describe your business idea, and it'll tell you how scalable it is and what you need to do to make it scalable. So there's no shortage of information to help you as a founder. Sales strategists, all of it's just so. All the stuff is at your fingertips, and like even with our partnership with Coda, if you that gives you unlimited AI for 6 months. So if you want to leverage that program, just shoot me an email that you're interested, and it's really simple. All you have to do is Google Coda for startups, and then start filling out the application, and then they're going to say which partner. You just select Kukui Institute. It's literally that simple. And you get, if you show enough evidence that you are a startup and you're trying to build something, you get Coda free for 6 months, and you can all your documents. You can get into have it create your document. You can have help. You can do prompts in there. Yeah, you can use it to create stuff. It's a really neat opportunity. But as you can see, there's literally no shortage of stuff that you could do. And so this was one of the things that they shared with us, a framework for doing prompts for your business. Let me see something here before we go to that. Here it is right here. I'll just kind of show you what. And this is just a thing for creating some sample prompts for your business. And I can, if anybody's interested, just let me know. I can share it. But it has the template for the prompt, and then you create your own prompt. But it's this Dr. Goldie's framework for design thinking and for rapid business products. Or, so it's just a thing where you can take your idea and generate some prompts and to things that you can prompt. And so here down here, you could say, generate a business model. You can, it's at a business model canvas, but you can have it create the lean canvas instead. And so this is an example prompt, and so go from there. So what I did with the Chat GPT, I uploaded her. Let's see if I can get this thing to move here. I don't see my cursor. I apologize for that. So I'm trying to figure out how to make my screen move here. And there, okay, here you go. So I just asked, ChatGPT, are you familiar with Dr. Goldie's framework? And said yes, it was familiar with it. And then I said, what about this part of her this particular framework? And then it came out with that. And then so I did another prompt, and I'm trying to see, where is it? I did another prompt where I did her, what I did was let's see what it is. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, so this is so I put a document that explains our Black Founder Program, and so I wanted, and so ChatGPT summarized the document for me, and then I uploaded Dr. Goldie's framework, and then I wanted ChatGPT to create the prompts for Dr. Goldie's framework. And it was having trouble understanding what I was saying at first, but then it finally, so based on her framework, it created all the prompts for the Black Founder Program that I could, if I wanted to go do these series of prompts, I could. And so, and that's kind of an advantage of having a paid account. So let's get back here. Yeah, so let's see. Hello, Miss Angela. I hope you all get the point of what I'm making. I'll do a kind of like a real quick review. So there is a startup ecosystem out there, and that has a lot of opportunities for startup founders. And a startup founder is a person that's working on a big problem, building a solution for a big problem. And the minute you start working on that solution for a big problem, you become a founder. And the minute you become a founder, you have access to all these founder opportunities. But you have to note that, these opportunities are a part of the startup ecosystem. Most major corporations have a program for startup founders. There's a bunch of nonprofits out there that run training programs for startup founders. There's a bunch of pre-accelerator programs out there that help startup founders, and a lot of the programs have money associated with them. And so there's pitch competitions for startup founders. But all of these things require you to communicate your business model. When you're filling out the application for a pitch competition, when you're filling out the application for an accelerator program, a pre-accelerator program, corporate accelerator program, you have to communicate your business model clearly and concisely. You don't be bragging about how good your product is because they want to know how you're going to make money with your product. And you make money based on how you design your business model. And so you have to learn all the key terms that the startup ecosystem uses. And so we offer the Lean Stack program, which has the business model design and the launch stuff in it. We also offer the Startup Science program that has all the terms that any of these ecosystem programs, these accelerator programs, these venture capitalists, any question that they would ask you is in that Startup Science program. So all the things that you need to figure out and calculate is that Startup Science program shows you how to do it. Both of these programs are like gold. The Lean Stack is a platform that Ash Murray created, and he's the one that actually created or invented the Lean Canvas. And so he's been working on this Lean Canvas stuff and how do you get founders from that idea stage all the way through these and to meet all these milestones. He's been working on that nonstop for probably, like over close to 15 years now. And so we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Our funders provide the funding for us to get access to that program so we can give access to you. And so that's the key thing there. The Startup Science, the same thing. we have a platform of the Startup Science, and we give you free access to it. So all of this knowledge that you can gain from these platforms, that's what's going to enable you to fill out these applications to fund your startup to the point where you can launch your product or service. And so that's kind of when I say we here at the Kakura Institute, we teach founders the best practices for building a startup, and also we connect them with resources that to help. And these resources are these founder opportunities, but you have to close the knowledge gap so you can actually access these founder opportunities. It's literally as simple as that. And all of this is based on what you start off with your Lean Canvas. So are there any last minute questions before I sign off here? But I appreciate you all bearing with me. To me, it's exciting to think that you as a founder, you as a Black founder, can get the help you need to go from point A to point B. Whereas when you go to traditional small business route, you can get help, but there are more obstacles in your way to do it. But the startup ecosystem requires you to innovate, because the solution doesn't exist. If you're going to build something that there's already a solution for, but you can, focus on a niche part of the market or whatever, but take advantage of the opportunities out there. And every day there's new opportunities, and you just have to get plugged into the ecosystems. One of the best practices, and that's why you see me here every Thursday night for almost 4 years now, is because the opportunities are there for you as a founder to kind of move forward. But don't get confused about all these different things. If you just get in your mind that there are phases that you go through, and you want to know what's available for you at the phase. You don't want to know what's available for you, down the road. You want to know what's available for you right now to get to the next step. And if you're at the idea stage, you need a 1-page business plan, not a 32-page business plan. And so that's what I'm trying to tell you. And you pitch what you're building. Your business model is the product, not your whatever solution that you got in your head. So I hope some of this stuff sinks in, because there's opportunities if you embrace the startup founder mindset. So thanks a lot, everyone. I'm going to sign off here, and look forward to seeing you all next week, and should be back in Pensacola. So thanks for tuning in, and feel free to reach out if you need anything. That's what we're here for. Thanks. We couldn't do it without all our coaches. I just need to give a shout out to them. So we got a bunch of dedicated coaches, and so we just want to make sure there's help if you need it, but you need to follow the methodology. We can't help you if you're going to follow your methodology. You have to follow the methodology that works. All right. Thank you all. We'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.